You know what the worst thing about loading up video games is these days? Is the endless company logos, legal screens and branded game engine splashes. Every time you load up a game, it's the same homogeneous tripe. But one of the lovely little things about the Mega Drive that made me smile was booting up a game and seeing different variations of the SEGA logo. Sure, some were relatively boring renditions of the company's logo, but some developers went absolutely insane with these seconds-long intros, and there are hundreds of variations. Now, for me to make a video of all of them would be a very time-consuming and needless task, but I would like to take just a few minutes to celebrate some of the stranger SEGA logos out there. Here are 10 SEGA logos I think are pretty damn cool, and I hope you do as well. I'll level with you. I know very little about Troubleshooter, a scrolling shoot 'em up from Vic Tokai. In fact, the only thing I do know is that it has a unique SEGA logo, but it's not this one. The Japanese version of Troubleshooter, titled Battle Mania, has a secret SEGA logo that is only viewable when you hold C and Start on Player 2's controller when you boot your Mega Drive console. In this secret screen, the standard unique logo appears, followed by a strange character stomping on what appears to be a Super Famicom console, or Super Nintendo to you and me. Truly, SEGA does what Nintendo don't. Now, if you were a developer in the 90s and didn't try to make a one-on-one fighter to challenge Street Fighter, then you were no one. Even SEGA tried to get in on the act with Eternal Champions, their quickly forgotten brawler. Featuring a roster of colourful characters taken from various time periods and a decent attempt at a unique narrative where combatants who are doomed to a deadly fate take part in a tournament to win the chance to change their destiny. And it's this colourful cast that takes part in this game's SEGA logo, with a random character doing something to the logo every time you boot the game up. Very few games took the time to come up with multiple logos, but it's very cool when they did. If you've ever played any of the main Pokemon games, then you know who Game Freak are, but the developers of one of the biggest Nintendo franchises once developed a game for the Japanese Mega Drive, Pulseman. I haven't played too much of this game to be honest, but it does have a pretty cool SEGA intro. If it didn't, I wouldn't be mentioning it right now, would I? When turning the system on, you are given a screen of white noise as the SEGA logo slowly fades into view. Then, the logo pulses with energy. Get it? Because the game is called Pulseman? Ha! A simple logo, this one. I love Aladdin on the Mega Drive. It's not the best platformer out there, but from a presentation standpoint, you'll rarely find a Mega Drive game that looks and sounds this good. It was miles apart from any movie license at the time, and the game's use of real Disney animation is just incredible. As for the logo, it's just a silly appearance of the Genie. Oh, and Iago. What can I say, the Genie is one of my favourite Disney characters. Everyone knows the SEGA chant at the beginning of Sonic the Hedgehog, and subsequent Sonic games, but did you know that in the original this digitised audio sample took up an eighth of the game's 4 megabit cartridge size? But personally, I love the intro for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, as I love the game itself, which you'd probably know if you saw my review video a little while ago. With the sequel being an amped version of the original, the SEGA logo itself is no different, with its blink and you'll miss it appearance of the blue hedgehog, and of course, that chant. Ren and Stimpy is one of those cartoons that encapsulates a time in the early to mid 90s, and its influence on animation can certainly be felt in many modern animated series. It was wacky, surreal, and very subversive at times, and was fun to watch no matter what your age. Naturally, their animated antics found their way into video game form, with several games appearing on multiple consoles. Stimpy's invention is as offbeat as the series itself, a platformer where you play as both Stimpy and Ren, indulging in pastimes such as traversing through a freezer. Its logo animation was equally as silly, but made sense to fans of the show, as a log marches across the screen with the SEGA logo in tow, in a joke ripped from the very first episode of the series. Coming in at the tail end of the SEGA Mega Drive's life, Vectorman was an action platformer with pre-rendered visuals in a bid to rival the Super Nintendo's Donkey Kong Country. It has its fans, and admittedly I'm not one of them, but it is an impressive looking game nonetheless. As for this SEGA logo, there is way more depth to it than you realise. For a start, it's one of the rare SEGA logos where you can actually interact with it in some way, as you can control Vectorman himself, running and shooting however you please, but this serves a greater purpose. If you look at the top of the screen and slightly to the right, you'll see one of the destructible televisions seen in the main game. Shoot it and it'll explode. Next, stand under the SEGA logo, aim upwards and shoot it exactly 24 times. Finally, while still standing under the SEGA logo, jump and headbutt it 12 times. This initiates a minigame where 120 falling letters rain down from the sky, and you have to collect as many as you possibly can. But this unusual diversion has more significance, for if you can catch between 90 and 110 letters, when you start the game you'll be taken straight to level 5. If you're really good and catch 110 to 120 letters, you'll walk to level 10 when you begin the game. Okay, this one is pretty short, but I kinda like it. Jurassic Park Rampage Edition is the follow-up to Sega's own Jurassic Park game on the Mega Drive, developed as a response to the movie and previous game's massive success. At this time, players were given the chance to play as one of the dreaded raptors, in addition to the previously playable Dr. Grant. As mentioned, it has a very short SEGA logo sequence, but it's pretty well animated, as a T-Rex lets off a horrendous roar before storming off in a huff, no doubt because he wasn't given a starring role. It's easy to forget that the Mega Drive was capable of some pretty awesome visuals and animation, with Desert Demolition starring Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote as a worthy example of this, with sprite work that is an amazing representation of the Warner Bros. Animation style. As a platformer, it's a little different, as playing as Acme's best customer, you must chase after the Roadrunner, using every dirty trick and tool in Acme's catalogue to hunt your prey. And this so-called game of cat and mouse begins from the moment you switch on your Mega Drive, as Roadrunner races on screen before promptly humiliating his rival. Hands up everybody, who remembers Disney's Bonkers? No one? Exactly. A Saturday morning cartoon that portrayed a former cartoon star turned cop who solves crimes in the fictional location of Toontown. Yes, the very same Toontown as portrayed in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like many other Disney toons, Bonkers made his way into video games, and it's the Mega Drive game we're looking at, a mini-game collection of sorts, wrapped in the premise of Bonkers taking on various criminals to rid Toontown of crime. The game is notable as it doesn't just have one logo animation, but like Eternal Champions, it has several that are randomly displayed at boot up. None of them are particularly jaw-dropping, but it is rare for a game to have multiple animations, so I felt it was certainly worth mentioning here. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this and want more, you can click this icon to subscribe, this icon to support me financially via Patreon, or these icons to watch more videos from my channel. Why not take a few seconds to answer the question of the week in the comments, or just let me know what you thought of this video. See you next week.